What? Okay, this meeting is being live streamed. So let's see if we're actually live. So welcome everyone to the Geek Battle show here on youtube.com/extreme improv. And I'm just going to check to see if this sound is working. But very quickly, just to give you a recap of everything that's happened so far, Marty, catch us up. What have we been talking about? We had a little bit of a sound issue. Whilst you do that, I'm just going to check what I can.
Well, we were talking about James Gunn and all of his decisions to reboot the DC universe. And unfortunately, David had to stop the stream in midstream. And I've always heard from doctors that's a bad idea, that you shouldn't do that. You should always keep the stream going until you're finished, because stopping it can injure you. So,
okay, the sound is going perfect. Excellent stuff. So, Marty, I wasn't really listening to what you were saying because I wasn't talking.
That's right.
I was just checking to see if the sound's working.
Now, it's your turn this week, Marty.
Let's just pick things back up. And I assume you told him that we were talking about James Gunn is destroying the DCU. We have the evidence that Superman was going to be played by Henry Cavill, because otherwise, why did he have the cameo in Black Adam? But still, they've cut him out. They've shamed themselves, and they need to be punished. Cavill, give us some thoughts on that.
The weird thing is that I think the management that already was in DC that wasn't keen on the Snyder universe as well, they did far as they could to stand away from Henry Cavill, and I think they're still somehow in the inner workings of it, because I don't think James Gunn is that stupid. I know that Henry Cavill does bring in the numbers. He does have a fan base that he can actually rely on, but I think he couldn't actually work within the management. That's why he couldn't really cast Henry Cavill, and he's trying to save a face. But the thing is that, well, if new Superman can still work, I would say. But the problem is that I'm not interested in it anymore. I would rather see another continuation of a Superman story than watch over another Superman story. Because again, you still have the Christopher Reeves films. People still watch that. I think a lot of people introduce Superman through Christopher Reeves films or the cartoons. So let's not make that again. Make another movie.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. So is it too late for them to actually just have Christopher Reeve as the only Superman? Could they? Because it sounds like they are actually going to attempt to do that.
God, I still think we're still in the uncanny valley. I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
Did you see what they achieved on the Mandalorian? The Book of Boba Fett. From the Mandalorian with Luke Skywalker to the Book of Boba Fett, it looks incredible. The difference they came up with.
It looks incredible, but it's still not quite right.
Also, it's not a good round for actors in general, I would say. This been why do we need new actors?
Well, exactly. Congratulations, you've been cast as the brand new Superman. Hooray! But we're putting Henry Cavill's face plastered on yours. Oh.
I don't
Here's
think
your costume, green dots.
Yeah, I don't think that's the best decision you can make to the industry. I would say so. I'm not for that. Although I would also if Brendan Routh returns as Superman, I would be okay with that as well, because I thought that he did do a good job. And
so Cavill, another story which I did pick up on today, and I'll see if I can actually find this just to tell you the update on it. But apparently, at a certain point, Brendan Fraser recalls losing out on the Superman role because of studio politics. How would have you felt Brendan Fraser as Superman?
He's not right for the part.
Watch out for that building.
Watch out for that tree.
I would say it's a difficult sell, but he's a good actor. I've seen roles where he does a little bit in a sense reserved. But no, I think when is this in the 90s or is this in the 2000s?
In the 2000s, apparently 2003. Right. Okay. So just as an update, apparently before the show, there's something really got. I'm gonna have to do some technical stuff because obviously we've got shows later and shows tomorrow and that. It says I can hear you guys talking, so that was probably that our sound was coming through. I don't think we said anything too incriminating before the start of the show.
No, I crawled under my desk.
Who's to say? Well, exactly. This is the show now. So I'm just letting people know where to find this bad boy. Just because even if look at this, Capital Dave, this is your fault, basically. So once again, audience, if we had been on StreamYard, this would have never happened. We'd have never even known. There wouldn't have been an issue with Restream or Zoom or any of that. So anyway.
I'm starting to think...
Because on Restream, Cap can't use his filters.
No, Restream is the thing where they're...
And you're saying that's a bad thing? That's a good thing.
It's StreamYard, and also Snapcam is gone now.
Yeah, you can't
Hang on,
no.
Snapcam is gone. Why can't you use Chrome?
No, I can still use Chrome, but it's not good for my PC. It starts to overload it.
Oh my god, Cap, do you have a mobile telephone?
I do.
Well, you join it from that, right? Okay, we'll problem solve it. Jesus, right? Anyway, so there's been some technical issues, but like we're back now. So
well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I'm almost at the point now where I think that Phase 1 should not have included Superman and Batman at all. I think Phase 1 should have just been, Marvel started with Iron Man, who is not one of them.
Do you want it to start with Cyborg?
No, not Cyborg, but you could have
Wonder Woman was good. I say,
Cyborg, the movie Cyborg, he looked like shit. But they could have started. They could have started with a Teen Titans movie. They could start with the other news that bothers me is that they're talking about having James Mangold direct Swamp Thing. That Swamp Thing should be a horror movie.
Yeah.
And James Mangold.
Give it to Sam Raimi.
No, let's stop using him for everything too. James Mangold I don't know that I've enjoyed a single James Mangold movie ever. I'd have to look at his credits, but I know he did Logan, and I didn't really think Logan was all that great. I know a lot of people did, but I didn't think it was all that great.
Okay, let's find out what his credits are. I would bring it up on the screen, but because of Capital Thave, I can't. So
everything's Cap's
fault. David.
Everything's
copyright, David. Copyright. You don't want that on.
Well, exactly. These issues do happen. But James, I kind of agree with you, Marty. I thought Logan wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be. Like it took a long time before you saw any superhero stuff. Oh, we've lost Dave. Oh well, he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be back. Okay, he's back. Oh my god, this is just the night of technical issues. So let's see what he did. So anything I've heard of here, Logan. He was the executive producer of The Greatest Showman. So come on, guys.
Oh, that piece of trash.
Wait, it says notable. None of these are directing credits. Okay, director. Let's see what he's the director of. You didn't like The Greatest Showman?
No. P.T. Barnum was not a great human being. And here's Hugh Jackman. Oh, I love all the freaks and I treat them well and I pay them good. It's just all Hollywood bullshit.
Wow. Yeah, but like, so what? Like the legend of who he is now it's a better story than the reality. Sometimes the lie is better than the truth.
The music was so forgettable. It was just terrible.
Wow.
It is the greatest show.
Marty, what's your favorite musical?
Les Mis.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
It is not.
It is. It's terrible.
It's good.
Like, just like I'm just desperate for any scenes of dialogue. Oh no, wait, there are none. Right.
The musical.
No, it's an album. There's no scenes linking things together.
It's
anyway,
a good story.
Well, it's Hugh Jackman, so the Greatest Show.
No, I'm not talking about that movie. I'm talking about see the thing on the stage.
Yeah.
I'm talking about stage musicals, not movie musicals.
Well, then that's not really fair on The Greatest Showman because it's not been a stage musical.
Exactly.
But bear
Hopefully
with me. A couple of weeks ago, and I did put a review of this on my website, I saw a stage musical called Cirque, The Greatest Show. And it started off with about 3 or 4 songs from The Greatest Showman. And it was like circus acts as well. So there was almost no story except for like one clown was watching like television. And then it was suddenly like he's changed the channel. And then there was a load of songs from Hairspray and from what was that other kind of cabaret? It wasn't the musical Cabaret, but there was like another one about 20 years ago, like a film of it. I can't remember. Like my mind's gone blank.
Chicago?
No, not Chicago. It was like Kylie Minogue was in it. You won't know who that was.
I know who she is,
Christina
but I don't.
Aguilera. Moulin Rouge.
Oh, Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, so they'd got some like songs from this kind of stuff, and then they ended up doing more songs from The Greatest Showman, and that was probably the closest it's been to being on stage, and it was an enjoyable enough show, but there was no way they could do everything that you'd seen in the movie of The Greatest Showman on stage. It would just seem like a watered down version. So there you go. So this week on Musical Battle.
Although, David, I would tell you to watch the Into the Woods, the stage version musical, not the movie, because I know you fell asleep on the movie, but you should definitely watch the 1996 stage version, which is really good.
I didn't fall asleep in it. I sat there and watched Tom and Jerry on my phone.
God, the movie is just trash.
Well, they advertised it with Johnny Depp on the poster, and you're like, oh yeah, he was in Sweeney Todd, which I didn't particularly like, actually. Not the songs. The songs, like Sondheim, just doesn't rhyme.
No, you've got to see these things on stage.
Yeah, I think that's why I like what they did with Hamilton, which they basically just filmed what happened on stage. Disney is also planning to do animated stuff with Hamilton. I know Dave doesn't like Hamilton, but
I've seen Sweeney Todd twice on stage. I've seen Les Mis 3 or 4 times. I've seen a bunch of. I mean, these movies don't work. They just don't work as movies most of the time.
Okay, Dave. Like everything's fallen apart since you left.
Oh God! Was that what happens when I leave? Is it?
Yeah, we end up just having a discussion about musicals.
Why do you have discussions about musicals without me?
What's your favorite musical, Dave?
My favorite musical is Spamalot.
Yay! I like that show. I've seen that on stage 3 times.
I think it's because I'm biased because I did that show. But I just love it. I love the comedy. I love the songs. I love everything about it.
Yeah,
I saw it, and I think it was the theater that did it that made me not like it. I think it just wasn't a good production of it.
Okay.
So I would like to see it done better.
What's the worst musical you've seen?
Oh my God. Okay, so on stage, that's a really good question. I've seen some that are not professional. Probably the worst one I saw was when I was at uni. There was a musical theatre course, and they did a show called The Beggar's Opera, and my God, their production of it was absolutely dire. So shout out to that director. He was a complete prick. But beyond that, the worst one I've seen on stage, I don't know, they're probably kind of forgettable. So when I saw, this definitely isn't it, but something that does jump to my mind, I saw Dirty Dancing on stage. And the guy who plays Patrick Swayze's character didn't sing in the entire show. Clearly they'd got a guy who kind of could like do the dance, do the lifts and all this. He didn't sing in the entire show. And also, clearly he was just hired because he was the good dancer. Anytime he delivered his lines of dialogue, he was a detestable character. But this actually happened. I will go on a rant just for a couple of seconds here. This happened. What was the other one? When I saw Sister Act, they completely rewrote that musical. So when you saw it on stage, by the time I saw it about 10 years later again, it was like a 70% different show. It had some of the same songs, but they rewrote the script. And like just before the end of the musical, when the bad guys, the mafia guys, have found Dolores, Whoopi Goldberg's character, And she's like, oh no, they found me. In the musical version, she was like, I ain't got time for no nuns. And it's like the whole point is that you're meant to have grown to like these nuns, and now you've just abandoned them to get killed by the mafia. They've got it all wrong. Anyway, what's the worst musical you've seen, Cap?
I would say Cats, not the stage. I've never seen the stage musical actually on live. I've only seen the tape. I would say Cats is probably the worst musical. But there's the reason that you might not know. There's a guy who makes that musical. He breaks down the technicals of music and stuff. And he saw Cats, and he talked about something that's really bizarre. He said that the singers in the Cats movie musical is the dancers are actually singing better than actual singers. The reason being is that the director actually had a different approach. He said that usually how you sing is that you follow the music and you sing to it, right? So he made a rule where you sing and the music follows you, which is not how you sing. So the dancers basically, well, they didn't have that option. So basically they're just tapping the beat and they were singing to that. So they can actually stay on tune to it. And there was actually a video making of the film where the how you call that, the maestro or composer. The composer was like looking at this idea and going, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because usually singers follow the music. That was way fun. I would check that video out. What's Wrong with Cats the musical, I think, and you see a 1 hour video and it's that video.
Okay. Did any of you guys see, I don't know if they ever took it to Broadway or America at all, but did any of you see Lord of the Rings, the musical?
Yes, I watched it in London.
Oh my God.
Did it?
It was terrible. It would have been a great play. Only like 2 of the songs weren't terrible.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But also, no, Gollum's song is cool. Okay, Gollum was good. Gollum was good. When it got to the interval and it's going into Act 2, literally Gollum crawls down the side of the stage like Spider-Man.
So good.
It was so good, except here's where I found problems with it. First of all, once again, its character's getting angry. Like, Gandalf walks onto the stage, Frodo's there, nothing has happened, and he's just instantly, Frodo! And he shakes him. And it's like, nothing's happened to deserve that response. Also, you shouldn't be this angry at him. Then all of the hobbits, they were like, oh, I got this really high voice. And I was like, what are they sounding squeaky for? And then, when what's his name? When Boromir dies, Aragorn gets his hand and puts it inside like the clothes of Boromir all the way down and lets out this noise. Like that. It was really bizarre. It was really bizarre. Literally, Boromir was dying. And Aragorn felt him up.
It was Lord of the Cock Rings, is what it was.
Exactly. There you go.
But I remember that show because I think I was in the Grand Circle watching that, and I remember when the Balrog disintegrated and all the flakes of it came into the audience. I looked down on the floor, and as all these flakes from the Balrog are there, I just see a Quality Street rapper literally on the floor, like, what? The Balrog's been snacking it. What the hell?
Oh, so also, I was like, I was up in the gods, and they had like the people come out dressed as orcs, and they just didn't send any to where we were. So there was just like, what is the show still going on? And we'd hear,
we had one on where we were sat. The one came like because we watched it come in like in the boxes, and we saw one down on the floor in the stalls, and then we saw 2 of them in where we were. Like, I love it.
Did any of y'all see The Cursed Child?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay. I'd love to see it, but I just haven't. I read the book, but I haven't seen the musical.
My God. So I won't give the spoilers of the story, but like within 5 minutes of watching it, you'd know this character exists. But what's his name? Scorpius Malfoy is like the greatest character in the entire Harry Potter franchise. And I've seen clips of it. So it wasn't just this one actor. They always play it this way. Like, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it justice because this was like 2019 when I saw it. Oh, but every time that Scorpius speaks, it's got this kind of rhythm to it. Like he's really nervous, or like that. And it's the funniest thing. Every line he said stole the show. Every single scene that Scorpius was in, like, stole the show every time. Because he was kind of cowardly and a bit bumbling and that. And he was just a brilliant character.
So I thought about, because I'm coming to London on Sunday, I actually thought about, do I want to go and see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child?
Yes.
And then I realized that would be an insane idea, so I decided not to.
Why would it be an insane idea?
Is it still playing there?
Yeah, it's still playing.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, it's still playing.
Yeah, when I got tickets for it in 2019, like I had to buy tickets for it. I bought them in like December or January, and they were for August that year. Marty.
Okay, what is the weirdest adaptation from like TV or movie to a musical that you've ever seen?
Oh gosh, I don't know about that. I can go on. I'll try to think of the weirdest adaptation to a musical.
Is it
But
the
just in
Back to
terms
the
of
Future
weirdest
one?
adaptations,
Is
you
it the
either
Back
have to
the
go
Future
to.
one? David,
Pat.
you mentioned the Back to the Future one.
Oh no, that's great.
That I want to see that. I really want to see Back to the
Oh
Future.
no, Back to the Future the musical is like 2 hours of perfection. It's got a few weird things in it, but anything that it does that's weird, a moment later it's just back on track with being exactly what you'd want it to be. It's a kind of a Frankenstein show in that it either has like John Williams' Back to the Future theme and stuff like that. Then it has like The Power of Love and Johnny Be Good that you know from the film. And then it's got the original songs, which feel like a completely different beast. And some of them are very hit and miss. And, well, probably more miss than hit. But it's all just such a fun show. And the guy that plays George McFly, and again, they probably do this every time. He took the whole... okay, Biff. He took that and stretches it so far. So, like, literally, he gets 2 laughs out of his 1 laugh. Something's like on the television. He's like, like, and it goes on to the point that the audience stop laughing. He doesn't stop, and then they laugh again. And when you can get that kind of laugh, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So. I would say so. I think a lot of people like this. Everyone likes Shrek the musical, but I would say, in a sense, it's bad because Shrek was technically made to make fun of Disney musicals. So that's why there's the best scene where Fiona.
All about the money.
Yeah, so
I think turn it back into a musical.
But
I've never seen that one.
That's the reason why I think Shrek the musical is a bad idea, because I think it kind of beats the purpose of it. So unless you're singing the what's the song in the Shrek movie, the famous song?
Smash Mouth All Star.
Yeah.
When I saw her face, now I'm a believer. I think they're in the musical. Yeah, I can't remember if this is true. I think there's something about the Shrek the musical which means that it breaks the continuity, so Shrek 2 wouldn't make sense. But coming back to Back to the Future the musical, Back to the Future the musical wouldn't set up Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future 2 would be impossible after the events of Back to the Future the musical.
Timelines, mate. It's the Back to the Future timelines thing. The musical exists in its own linear timeline.
It can't happen. I'll tell you why, because again, it's only a minor spoiler. When you see it, it will actually take, because you go in expecting it now. No, this won't ruin it.
Don't want to hear it.
It won't ruin it. It won't ruin it. Right? It's just one mechanic that they've got in it. They have the idea that the car, the time machine, can only be activated by Doc. So the whole idea of Biff being able to steal it in Back to the Future Part 2 literally could never happen. So they come up with this interesting idea. And I think the reason they do these things is because they couldn't put in the storyline with the terrorists. So they come up with a different alternative and they end up doing a couple of changes, which mean like, oh, you've done this. You do realize that Back to the Future 2 and 3 now cannot exist. But anyway.
That's all right. They exist as movies.
I'd say
another musical.
I think the infamous musical that was the worst adaptation would be the Spider-Man musical.
Yeah, I never saw that
New York one. Is that the one where people got killed or something?
I don't know if it's people got killed or not. I keep hearing different stories, and I just hear that the Spider-Man musical was not all it's cracked up to be.
All you have to do is go online and look at the costumes for the villains to know that it was effed up in a big bad way.
Yeah, how Spider-Man the musical became a theatrical disaster.
Yeah.
It was called Turn Off the Dark.
But when I lived in Seattle for some reason, I don't know why, a lot of Broadway shows, before they go to Broadway, they come to Seattle and they do a test run there.
Yeah.
So I saw The Wedding Singer musical. I saw Young Frankenstein.
Oh.
And they were all pretty good. Young Frankenstein, I would say, was just too long.
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good on stage.
Did you? I saw it with Megan Mullally as the Madeline Kahn character. But
where I saw it when it was still on its original run on Broadway. The one day I went to see it, they'd got the understudy playing Frankenstein, which coincidentally is the actor Roger Bart. Coincidentally, years later, he was playing Doc Brown in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So I eventually got to see this guy on stage.
I saw Roger Bart, him perform it, and I actually saw him out on the street. He walked right by me. When I was out on the street. But I think
got a flavor of his essence.
It was fun and weird. I saw Evil Dead the musical.
Oh wow! What was that?
Well, it's a musical of the Sam Raimi film.
No, I know. Like, what the fuck is that? It's one of the songs in it.
Oh yeah. And they hand out ponchos to the people on the front row so they don't get blood on them.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But that's just the sadistic weirdo. I want to just sit in the front row like, this is exciting. I'm really happy.
No, but okay, so bring things back. So very quickly, just to answer about the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark show. It says here 6 people were injured whilst working on Spider-Man after 2 stunt doubles were injured during various flying sequences in rehearsals. Safety inspectors from the New York State Department of Labor reviewed the scenes in the show, and they were cited for 2 workplace safety violations. And it says someone who was originally cast of, I don't know who that character is, suffered a concussion during the first preview performance when struck in the head by equipment in the wings. Oh my God.
Wow.
She did not report the accident to producers until November, 2 days later. She appeared in the second performance against her doctor's advice. The role involves several flying sequences, including one in which she was spun upside down. She later fell ill. Her understudy played the role for a 2-week absence.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm sure there was a lot of stuff. The last thing I'll say on like the front of musicals is I saw a Spider-Man musical at Butlin's Holiday Camp, if you know what that is, Dave.
I'm fully aware of what a Butlin's holiday camp is,
and it was great. The lizard was the bad guy. It was super low budget, but this was about 1995, and it was awesome. It was like officially sponsored by like Fox Kids.
I was 2 years old. I was too interested in eating dirt.
You know that there was a Superman musical either in the late 60s or the early 70s, and it bombed.
Wow.
I think it's also the time when musicals were trying to run out of staff, so they were like basically doing anything that was kind of popular to add musical up. But I think it usually miserably failed, and I think traditional music, in a sense, kind of went back and saved musicals in a way. Let's move on to the other stuff.
Yeah. Let's get the hell away from these musicals.
Come on, you can be geeky about musicals.
Yeah, but like, to be honest, I just don't care about them. Right, so
I haven't seen enough of them.
You heard it here first, folks.
And David only cares about things that he cares about.
Well, this is true
because he loves to hear himself talk, right?
No, okay, so look, chat me up. Like, who has seen something like? I know Ant-Man is out, I think, next week. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Cap, what have you seen recently?
I've seen Puss in Boots 2 times now, and it's really freaking great. So go watch it. I think, in a sense, like Disney's kind of losing the animation category. I think Encanto is still pretty good, I would say it, but the thing is that Puss in Boots just blew it out of the water. So far, I think the late 2000s and also the 2000s has been dominated by DreamWorks, coming from Kung Fu Panda to How to Train Your Dragon, but then Puss in Boots Part 1 is just an okay movie, but this one is like they really hammered it in. And it kind of took me back to the Disney early era where they did like I think Disney forgot doing heroics. Even when they did the princess movies, they always had a thing for heroics. They always did that. Like even in Sleeping Beauty, there was this battle that Prince Philip or Eric fought for Maleficent, slaying the dragon. They always had that sort of an action sort of scenes in every sort of Disney movies. But then as it went on, they kind of stayed away from it. And I say like Disney kind of forgot the heroics. So it just kind of took me back to the animated days of Tarzan, Aladdin, those kind of things. And the villain is like it's one for the ages. This one, one for the ages is considered animated villains.
Well,
So
which one, Cap? Because remember, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the main one. The other
Wait,
one's good
in
too.
Shrek? Sorry, not Shrek. In Puss in Boots.
Yeah, there's 3 villains in Puss in Boots.
What, in Puss in Boots 2?
In Puss in Boots 2, yeah, there were 3 villains. There's
is it a spoiler to say who they are?
One of them is, so you got, well, in the trailer they put Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
Okay.
And then they have they got a guy called Jack Horner, who's a nursery rhyme character.
Yeah,
and then the
Jack
third
Horner.
one is
yeah,
little Jack Horner. But in this he's big Jack Horner. And then you've got the third villain who is a bounty hunter.
Okay.
But that's all we say.
That's all we're saying.
Right. Okay. Good. Well, no, I do look forward to seeing it. I'm glad that they actually did come back to Puss in Boots and Shrek because it's been like 10 years.
And also, they used the same animation of Spider-Verse, basically. The 2D mixed with kind of like 3D. And it's gorgeous. The film is pretty gorgeous. So it
doesn't
visually look like the previous Shrek films?
Yeah, during the fight scenes, the animation takes a different sort of step. So it becomes sort of like you got like the sketch lines on Puss when he's jumping from building to building, and when he's fighting the bounty hunter character, they have a really cool shot where they're behind fire and you just see their shadows against each other. There's some really great animation during the fight scenes, especially.
Oh, wow.
It's a treat for the eyes and it's a treat for the story as well, I think. Again, this is one of the best animated movies that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Who here is planning to see Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania like next week? Well, I think it's not out until Friday next week, so it'd be like the week after before we probably have a chance to talk about it.
It's a possibility.
I'll wait for the DVD.
Yeah, I don't know when I'll get to see it, but I'm going to see it.
Guys, you've got to see it. Like, this whole show thrives on us being able to talk about this stuff.
Well, it depends.
Don't worry, David. I will pretty much catch up on everything, but just that I won't see it until it comes out.
It depends on whether my wife can go or not. Her work schedule's been horrible.
No, it's fair play. But apparently, a headline is that they're already planning Ant-Man 4. So I guess Ant-Man isn't going to get killed off in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's he going to keep Paul Rudd? He's pretty old.
He's pretty old. He's like literally the one guy that never ages.
He looks like that, but he's still old. I mean,
it doesn't matter as long as he doesn't look it. Do you know, like the weird thing? Because I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai. One of the things that dawned on me about that is I've always said with Cobra Kai that the characters, the way they're playing it, should be like 10 or 15 years younger than they are. And it dawned on me the other day that actually the characters are 10 or 15 years younger than the actors, because when they made the original Karate Kid, they had like a 25-year-old playing a 15-year-old. So when you see Ralph Macchio and he's like 65 and he's playing someone that's meant to probably be about 50, it's like, why has he got like, he's 65, why has he got like a 13-year-old daughter or whatever? So I guess he's at his character. They've kept the time difference with his age to the character, so...
Yeah. Can somebody confirm something for me? I think, David, you'd be able to.
Yeah.
Did Netflix cancel Cobra Kai, or are they just saying that after season 6, it's just ending?
No, I think they're ending it.
Because I keep seeing everywhere that Netflix saying we don't cancel anything, but then people are saying that. But then again, they're saying that Cobra Kai cancelled after 6 seasons. No, I don't know what it is.
It's not cancelled. Like, literally, when the last season came out, like within a day, they were like, it's been viewed 200 million times or something. So they wouldn't cancel it. I think they've just excuse me. I think they've reached a natural end for the story, and they've got a couple of complications. So first of all of like the younger characters, Miguel, Robbie, Sam, Tori, they're all like they're leaving high school age, so they can't keep still being in the All Valley Champion tournament. So, and then when you consider that the guy who plays Miguel is going to be Blue Beetle on that, some of them are like, well, you know, I really love Cobra Kai, but I can't stick around forever because I need to jump on these other opportunities. So I think that combination of things means that they're going to wrap up Cobra Kai here. And when they did put out the press release, it did acknowledge that that's the end of this chapter of the Cobra Kai Karate Kid thing, but there probably will be something in the future.
I will say
probably what. Yeah, go. Yeah.
I was going to say that for theory wise, do you think some of the students who left at the end of they left Cobra Kai at season 5, do you think they'll go back for the? I think it's the Tekai Sekai. Do you think they're still gonna wrap that up in season 6?
Oh, okay, remind me which students left.
So you had that. I've really forgotten his name. Like some of the students, the little. I'm sorry to say it like this. The little black child.
Okay, I know the one who was bullied.
Yeah, the one who was bullied and did the silver bird. Do you think like he will go back, or do you think he'll join like Eagle Miyagi Fang or
Miyagi Fang? Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Like, I've seen season 5 like once. And so, to be honest, it's a bit of a blur remembering exactly what happens. I remember everything that happened at the end with Terry Silver and all that. The interesting thing with Cobra Kai, I did a review, which I'll be putting on the Geek Battle channel, of an action figure of the Cobra Kai thing. And when I looked up about these, the only figures that you can get that they're actually selling are Johnny Lawrence, John Kreese, and LaRusso. And then they're saying in the next one you'll be able to get Chosen and Terry Silver. And it's like all of these figures are of people that are like in their 60s. They don't have any of the young cast because they literally know this is a show for people who watched Karate Kid in the 80s. So like the young ones are like, I don't even remember them, you know.
I think also, I don't think they, like David said, probably this chapter of the Cobra Kai would end, but I don't think they're going to say goodbye to Cobra Kai Universe because like Netflix is currently, in a sense, financially not in a good place.
Okay, let's actually, that's a good point. Let's bring this slightly more onto Netflix. What are your thoughts on the whole Netflix controversy? The fact that apparently they're introducing, so you cannot share a password, and so that people are saying
it's the same thing they did with The Witcher, David. They shot themselves in the foot. They shot themselves in the foot.
Well, hang on. You're saying they're taking Henry Cavill Netflix away?
So it's Henry Cavill's fault that I can't share my Netflix password.
Well,
I'm not. So, no, think about the show, right? The Witcher show, the season 1 everyone was well received, but again, the problem that they had was just not faithful to the books. We wanted faithful to the books, but Henry was the guy like, oh, it's going to be faithful to the book. I'm going to do my best, and everyone's like, okay, we'll tune in because Henry Cavill's still a good actor, and I think he has some influence to do with the show. But then season 3 is like, I'm handing my swords to Liam Hemsworth, and they're going on, and then like everyone's like, then why am I watching the show anymore?
Oh my God.
Clearly good.
Yeah, but Cap, not to invalidate your point, Cap, because it was a really good point. What's that got to do with not sharing a password?
I'm saying that they make stupid. I'm saying that they no. I'm just saying that they do some things that are beneficial for them, and they get ruined. And the only reason why people kept Netflix is that they can share passwords.
No, I agree with you, Cap.
Capel Fave's tombstone is going to say, Netflix ruined The Witcher and my life.
No, I would agree to that, but what I'm trying to say is that they usually do things that are advantage to them, and they kind of ruin what they have their advantage. Like with Henry Cavill was an advantage, they fired it. And the password sharing, we all have another streaming platforms. The only reason why they're still on Netflix is that you can watch other shows and you can share it stuff. Now you take that away, you don't have that much of a content to stick to original. Other people already have your stuff, and they're going to pay there. And why pay more money to you if they can't even share your password?
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine if they want to enforce it, but it doesn't sound like the way that they're going to enforce it is going to be, it's going to be a major inconvenience for subscribers.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to lose a lot of subscribers, and they're going to, I mean, will they learn their lesson? I don't know. But I'm at a point right now where I'm like, do I really want to keep Netflix? Because we really don't watch that much on Netflix.
I truthfully think Netflix is like 90% garbage. Like, for me, it's been like, oh, Better Call Saul came on in the UK on Netflix, and that I liked that show Wednesday, and I like Stranger Things. But when you take out a few things like that, where it's like, oh, and Squid Game was on there, and that was cool. But when I look at most of the catalog,
Right.
hardly any. When Netflix first was a thing, and I had it, it's like, oh my god, there's all of the films ever on there, and now there's just like it says Hollywood blockbusters, and there's hardly any films, and they're all like from 2011, 2004, and there's nothing from the 80s. You might scroll through and oh look, there's like planes, trains, and automobiles. There's nothing from the 80s. There's no, and I'm going to say a film, and then people's going to be like, yes, that film is on Netflix. But you know what I mean? There's show me where all the Arnold Schwarzenegger films are. Show me Ghostbusters. Show me Goonies. Show me this huge catalog of things that I want to see. None of them are on there. And now it's all just Netflix originals, and most of them are truthfully terrible.
Yeah, they're horrible.
And
I
they
will
don't
say
learn their they
Okay.
don't learn their lessons because think about what they did with the Cowboy Bebop. That was a disaster. They tried to do anime adaptation, it failed miserably, and now they're like, we're gonna do One Piece. Not One Piece.
Yeah,
One
but
Piece.
what they do though, and it worked. I think it worked for just a short amount of time. But they would go. What they would do is they would go out and buy films that were
Cloverfield
cheap.
Paradox.
Cheap to buy. What, Cloverfield Paradox?
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be that. They named it that. It had nothing to do with Cloverfield, and it was a piece of shit. And now Netflix is full of pieces of shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seriously going to have a conversation with my wife about, do we dump Netflix when Stranger Things comes back on? We'll get it, watch that, and then dump it again.
Well, yeah, you only need these things for a month now.
Yeah.
Is Friends still on Netflix?
Yeah,
I don't need to watch Friends.
they keep saying that they're going to get rid of it, but they don't, because it's like the most watched thing on Netflix.
They'll be like, bye Netflix. Everyone will be like,
But
So if you're like me, and like I did this yesterday, and when I was editing footage for a video, I just put Friends on in the background. I'm not really watching it; it's just sort of there.
Yeah,
that's why I have kept all of my DVDs, because streaming services are not reliable. People are like, oh, well, you can pull up anything you want and watch it. No, you can't.
no. Like I've still got all the Betamax videos that I used to have. I don't get rid of them.
Good for you.
No, I don't. But the thing is, if you can I've got it down here. Like I'll probably have to get it to dig it out, but get a device so you can back up your VHS tapes yourself if you have VHS, because they suffer from rot, and DVDs and discs can also suffer from aging and rot as well. I've had it happen a few times over. So it's difficult, because there are some things which eventually may get lost to time.
And also they're editing a lot of the old movies sometimes. Yeah. They edit a lot of the movies. So pretty much you might and not end up with the original.
Like, just imagine, like, I don't know what version of Star Wars they've got on Disney Plus, but the amount of revisions they've got to it. Imagine if it's just like the one where they put Hayden Christensen, or whatever his name is. What is his name? Hans Christian Andersen. Whatever, the guy who played Darth Vader, right? Where they replaced the old dude and they just put him in there even though he was like young and he shouldn't be in there. It's like, if that's the only version you can watch, or where like Han shot first, or
that's the version that's on Disney Plus are all, and even my DVD set. It's all the versions where the new effects are added. You see the Jabba scene, you see Han shoot Greedo, and you see Hayden what's his face Anderson, the Little Mermaid at the end.
In 2000 kid in the.
But the thing is, it's like I told someone the other day that did you watch the original Star Wars? No. why do you not see the original Darth Anakin Skywalker? This is who he is.
Yeah.
No, that's not. That's just some random dude. Like, no, that's Anakin. That's Anakin Skywalker.
So the problem is for me nowadays with like these different streaming services is that when there was first like Netflix, it was like, oh, this is an amazing idea. And then very quickly it was like, oh, there's Amazon Prime. And I was like, Amazon Prime isn't that good, but you get next day deliveries and, you know, they have it so you can read free books on Kindle. Excuse me. And then there may have been attempts to be one or two other things along the way, but the next big one was like Disney Plus. And now there's Paramount Plus. And I got Paramount Plus because they were basically selling it off half price for the year. And there's very little on there.
Oh, really? I find that there's a lot on there.
On Paramount Plus?
Yeah, well, at least over here for me.
Well, yeah, maybe it's not in the UK, but like when you go onto like the category for like movies, and it's like you go on perhaps science fiction or
I don't get streaming services for movies because I've got almost every movie I want to watch on DVD.
Okay.
If I want to watch a movie, I'll just go dig one out of the box and watch it.
But like the problem with this is that back in the day, to speak like an old person, it's like we'd get Sky Television, which was like an alternative to cable or whatever. And it would be like, well, you can pay for this extra package so you can have movies. You can pay for this extra package so you can have sports. And you're like, well, once I've paid for all of these things, I can't watch them at the same time. And it's like, well, now it's like, wow, I don't need to spend £50 a month for Sky because I can just spend £10 a month for Netflix. But it's like, but I want WandaVision, so now I've got to get Disney. Oh, they put all the James Bond on Amazon, so I've got to get that. Oh, there's Paramount Plus now. So like Paramount aren't selling any of their films to be shown on Netflix. Disney don't put any of their films on Netflix. And it's now you have to, like, every studio that exists, you have to buy their individual streaming service.
Yep.
It's basically like another cable thing. It's like.
But I will tell you, AMC, I got a free trial for AMC for 3 months. AMC is garbage. Their streaming service is trash.
Wow.
I would never pay a dime for that. We were watching the 10th season of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And we were 3 episodes from the end and they yanked the whole show from AMC. Streaming.
That's crazy. Oh, do you know what? We had something like this. Again, going back in the day when Lost was actually on television. In the UK, Lost was on the channel called Channel 4.
Yeah.
And then like the first 2 seasons were shown on Channel 4 in the UK. And we got them a year. We'd been hearing the hype from America on the internet about this show called Lost. And then they showed it and it was such a big hit. Very quickly, they were just like, here's season 2 after only like 2 or 3 weeks break. And then literally, as it came to an end, Sky, this subscription service, like, we're buying the rights to show Lost. And everyone was outraged, like, we were watching Lost. How can you steal it from Channel 4? But it meant that the first 3 seasons of Lost aired basically back to back to back. And then you had to have Sky. And there's another service called like BT or something like this, or Virgin Media, which is an alternative to Sky. And they fell out with Sky about, you can't show our channels. And during an episode of Lost, they suddenly shut down the channel for everyone who was subscribed to the service. Literally in the middle of an episode.
Yeah.
And that's the way it used to be. And that's the way I liked it.
Yeah. Well, the reason I like Paramount Plus, David, and I don't know what it's like over there, but
terrible.
They have all the Star Trek stuff.
That's true.
And
they show Picard.
I have not. They have Picard. I have not. I've only watched season 1, but I'm looking forward to watching it.
Okay, so look, I've got Paramount Plus here, and again, if I could show it on my screen cap, I'm just going to keep blaming you for this forever.
You would get copyrighted.
Not for just showing the screen. Right. So anyway, I'm going to quickly. I'm going to regret this. It's going to be more than I think. I'll just very quickly go over it. If you like action films, it's got Top Gun Maverick. It's got 48 Hours and its sequel, Black Rain, The Crow, Days of Thunder, Escape from Alcatraz, Escape from LA. Then already we're on to G.I. Joe, then Hondo, Jack Reacher, Italian Job. I'm halfway through the alphabet and I've named like 10 films. Then it's got like 101 Mission Impossible films. Then it's got The Phantom. Then it's got like an old cowboy film, The Saint, Shooter, Sum of All Fears, a load of Transformers films, The Tuxedo, The Warriors, Zulu, and one other film. There is like, if you like action films, there's really either you're going to watch Mission Impossible or Transformers, or there's really nothing on there.
Yep.
To me, it's like really, really lacking. It's like severely lacking.
Yeah, that's why I streaming is not for movies for
They have
me.
quite a few musicals though, so
There we go.
yeah.
I might just buy Paramount just for the musicals then.
As long as they
you
have
can get
greatest,
Footloose and
greatest-
its remake.
Oh,
They have what?
Footloose and its remake.
Oh,
I
God.
think the Paramount for me is the only show that Halo, and
Oh my god, Halo! Do you know I didn't even finish that? There's so many shows now where I start them and I can't tolerate them.
I couldn't. We can't finish Willow. It's just really, it's not good.
I got 2 episodes in and gave up.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Willow. What is it? What is it about?
It's about this little magical dwarf guy. This sounds terrible to say it like that.
did he hold it? I thought he was a hobbit.
He's a wizard. He's played by the guy who played Flitwick in Harry Potter, and he's a magician. My apologies, I didn't mean that to sound as impressive. And then this is set like 30 years later, because that's when the first one came out. It got Val Kilmer in. It's not a film I've seen in a long time, but they had the rights to make it. But my issue with it, and I said it before, and again, this is a minor spoiler. In the second episode, they literally have another character physically vomit on Warwick Davis, who plays Willow. And it's like, that shows you that tells you everything.
I don't know why they feel like they should, in a weird way, humiliate the characters that actually they're doing this show on.
They constantly do it.
They do it in all shows. They do it with He-Man. Okay, not to bring up here, but like any show that gets like a following or a remake, it's like, let's shit on the first show.
Yeah.
They will love us for it.
Well, the tone of the show is just all wrong. You've got characters speaking in contemporary English when, even in the original movie, maybe they weren't Game of Thrones, but they were closer to trying to be like a little bit, fantasy period-esque.
Yeah.
But you got the dude that plays Flash Thompson from the Spider-Man movies in there, and they're just, it's almost like they're just LARPing,
Terrible stuff.
Yeah. And I couldn't finish Miss Marvel. I just could not get through that.
That is something which was terrible to begin with and actually did get better. But I didn't finish Moon Knight. This is the thing. I didn't finish Moon Knight.
I regret it.
I finished Werewolf at Night or whatever it was called, but I kind of had lost interest and it was only like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
Have they done another Disney Plus
She-Hulk?
show? She-Hulk. Oh my god. I did finish that, but that was an abomination, no pun intended. Like, literally the final story is like, once again, we haven't had a villain this whole season, like in every Disney Plus show. The villain's going to turn up at the end, and then we're just going to go and speak to the writers, which means that when Tony Stark died, it was just the decision of these guys sat around a table. And just
they try to be Deadpool, but it was very bad.
But you see, it's like fourth wall breaking. It's something like in like the Fox Deadpool films. Fourth wall breaking. I would say that's fourth wall breaking done somewhat right, because it's not. It doesn't take up the majority of the film, and it's sort of it's done in a way that's humorous for everyone. But in She-Hulk, the fourth wall breaking is more in your face. And
also it was the resolution of the whole series.
Yeah, I cannot with She-Hulk.
And then Hulk shows up at the end, and he's like, "Hey, here, this is my son," and it looked so bad.
I love
like a
Jimmy
skinny
Mack.
Shrek.
I think Jimmy Mack shared a picture.
He should have walked up and said, "Where's Donkey?"
No. I think Jimmy Mack shared a picture where it's basically the Hulk. He turns him into Seinfeld Frank Costanza. It's basically George Costanza is his son. And I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
So I'm like, what is Marvel doing? Although, I mean, Wakanda Forever, I don't know if any of you saw it, but I
did.
loved it. I thought it was good.
I have some thoughts on it. It's only just gone to Disney Plus, so I only saw it the other day. Now, do you remember last week when I went on a fun but humorous rant about the Power Rangers film?
I remember it. I remember it a lot. Thank you.
I don't
It's the exact
remember
same
that
deal.
because I only listen to when I talk.
Okay,
that's,
but
that's
here's
5
the
minutes
thing.
I'll never get back, David.
But here's the thing. How did I know that would turn out to be so relevant? I liked Black Panda.
Black Panda.
It's just
the film they should make.
Black Panda. It's just Jack Black.
Yeah. Panda. Oh my god. Oh my god, they should so do that. Okay, I liked Black Panther Wakanda Forever for the most part. Shuri did not become Black Panther until the final 20 minutes of the film.
No.
It was the exact same problem as I said about this damn Power Rangers film.
Yeah, but they didn't
do it. Why take so long?
They didn't have the heart of the heart-shaped herb or whatever it's called.
Just say, well, we grew some more. We found some more.
Well, they didn't find it until they discovered that the Undersea Kingdom had vibranium.
It just took too long. It's like, they could have done this whole film in a montage at the beginning and then just got on with it.
I still think that Ironheart looks like she looks like either a Power Ranger, something from a Sentai show in Japan, or she looks like Eve from WALL-E.
She looked like Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have done without her. But I liked how menacing the undersea the Atlanteans. They're supposed in comics they're called Atlanteans. I forget what they're called in the movie. But I liked how menacing
Avatarians.
Huh?
They were just the creatures from Avatar again. They were blue people underwater.
They were blue people.
To be fair, they were always blue in the comics. So
yeah.
They didn't do that.
Oh, is Namor always supposed to be the villain?
No.
He's back and forth.
Well, he's irredeemable now. He killed T'Challa and Shuri's mum.
Dude, I ain't seen it yet.
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that. I've always seen it. Sorry, man. I feel really bad. I feel so bad. What were you over there? I've just been saying Shuri was a Black Panther until the last 20 minutes. Why didn't you say something then?
We're going to bring it up.
I'm so sorry, David. I'm so sorry. I just said Shuri didn't turn up until the last 20 minutes of the film as Black Panther.
So now I don't even know how fucking Black Panther is.
I didn't know. It's on Disney Plus.
Why would you do this to me?
You didn't say. Literally earlier, I was saying about Back to the Future, the musical, you're taking your headphones off. How was I meant to know that it wasn't a safe space to talk about a film that came out 3 months ago?
I don't know everything, David.
I'm so sorry, David. Genuinely.
See how red my face is? Y'all are going to give me a heart attack.
I am genuinely very, very sorry.
David,
it's absolutely. I am playing this for laughs. It's absolutely fine.
Do it. No, I do apologize. I don't believe.
No. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
For now.
Wow.
But
Well,
anyway,
no, look, she doesn't really die. I just said that. And like, obviously, Black Panther's in it the entire film. And like Namor isn't necessarily in it. I think that Loki is really good in it. And that scene with the Ant-Man.
Are we just trying to name drop as many Avengers as we
Yeah,
can
I'm just
in the
trying
next
to
5 minutes?
Now you don't know which are the red herrings. Except for the red herrings that are on the side of Namor's feet that look ridiculous. Why has he got like fish just flapping back and forward?
No, they're wings.
Are they wings?
Wings?
They're wings. Yeah. He has wings on his feet.
That's really weird.
He's the first mutant.
Yeah,
that's true. He is the first mutant.
I thought Apocalypse was the first mutant.
No.
Oh yeah, here's the other detail. And again, I try not to make this a spoiler. But like, what is it with all of these? Like, so Iron Man is like, Tony Stark built a suit in the desert with pots and pans. And it's like, so what? Because it turns out that Captain Marvel was around in the 90s. Captain America was around in the 40s. The Eternals were around 20,000 years ago. And now Namor has been flying through the sea with his winged feet for at least 500 years. It's like none of these people on this planet are special anymore. So, like, who cares that someone's got
because Iron Man was the first public superhero of the modern age. Like Captain America was the hero of the Second World War, so he was the champion of the war. And then you had obviously Tony Stark coming out in 2008 as Iron Man.
So how come we went through 20,000 years of history and no one knew that there was did the Eternals know that there are people that live in Atlantis?
Probably. Who cares about them?
Well, no one. Have you noticed that also this last phase, thank God this phase is over and Ant-Man starts the new phase, there was none of these films had any connection from one to another, except for, the woman who turns up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who was in Black Widow.
Elaine.
Yeah, whatever her name is. She is the only character that, not Yelena, just the woman that turns up at the end.
No, the actress is the one who played Elaine in Seinfeld.
Louis Dreyfus.
There is no other. I just hit myself in the face. There are no other films in which Ms. Marvel turns up. There's none of the films where Captain America turns up to help anyone. It's like the Avengers have apparently disbanded.
Yeah.
Even though that there's every single person in the world is a super person. And it's why do none of these characters cross over?
I think a really good crossover that they could have done was based on sort of the comic origin of them. Is you could have Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night have a crossover together.
Well, Moon Knight should have just been a werewolf. I couldn't believe when it turned out he was a
Moon Knight should have been from the very beginning. Moon Knight was created to be like a vigilante who fights supernatural threats.
Yeah.
And his first appearance was against Werewolf by Night.
Wow.
So
and
where did all this Egyptian bullshit come from?
And with the Egyptian bullshit that I would say is that I hate the idea that they throw in the celestial kind of gods and they don't actually know what they're placing themselves in the universe. I mean, you got the Eternals, you got the damn giant celestial thing, and now you have the Egyptian god and also the Asgardian gods. So you're kind of confusing the story a little bit. But here's the most weird thing that I always find angry a little bit. They made the villain the crocodile god, which technically they were trying to make her as the hippopotamus. I think they made her into the god of death or something like that. I think they made a big boo-boo. But the director basically started a rant saying that they don't really do well to the source of Egyptian mythology. And then where the heck is Anubis? Anubis is the freaking god of mummification. You have zero Anubis.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Did you hear that the TV show, I think it's going to be, is it going to be a movie or TV show? I can't remember, but Thunderbolts, which is a Marvel product.
So it's a movie, yeah.
It's going to deal with the big giant celestial that came up out of the earth.
Well, what are they going to do? They're just going to cut it away. It's just
apparently
you just have US Agent on the end with his shield scraping.
Let me finish. There is a rumor that is the source of adamantium.
Oh.
What?
Well, Wolverine does not exist in the MCU yet.
Yeah.
That could work. That would be an excuse to have adamantium.
Well, yeah.
If they do it right,
Yeah.
So basically, it's going to be so the whole thing is the corpse. Okay, again.
So how many of the original kind of Avengers teams that were fighting Loki and Thanos still active in this? We've got Falcon is now Captain America. We still have Bucky.
Thor is technically Chris Hemsworth technically wants to do another movie. He wants to do another movie, and he doesn't want it to be like Love and Thunder.
Who does?
To do No, he wants to do a better movie. He says that he wants to do a better movie, and Taika Waititi is not returning. I did like Thor Ragnarok. To be honest, I did like Thor Ragnarok, but the thing is,
We all did. Thor Ragnarok is not under scrutiny here. Love and Thunder is.
Yeah, but here's the reason why. I think Ragnarok was written by some of the people who just directed it. This one, he had a lot to do on the script, which kind of went bonkers. So I would say he still works as a director, but you need to give him a better writers.
I hope the next time Doctor Strange shows up that he pops that zit of an eyeball he's got on his forehead and gets rid of that.
Yeah, they're making everything so weird. Awful. That was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
And also, who was it that turned up at the end? Was it Charlize Theron?
Oh, it was Clea.
Yeah, but no, I know that, but the actress playing her, I meant.
Yeah, oh yeah, Charlize Theron.
Doesn't it feel like a lot of the Avengers now? Obviously, we've got like a young Avengers team emerging, but like a lot of the characters that they're kind of introducing in that are like a bit older than what it feels they should be. It feels like
who?
Well, like Clear, like why would they get someone who should have played that role 15 years ago?
Well, that's true. When Charlize showed up, I went, she's a little bit old for that.
Well, exactly, and it's like, and She-Hulk, they brought someone that was like believable to be Mark Ruffalo's cousin or whatever, but it's like, it doesn't feel like this person will be playing this role in 15 years.
Yeah, probably won't be.
Well, exactly. Like eventually they're going to have to come up with a way to reboot things, because you think it's crazy. I think it was 2013, 10 years ago since an Iron Man film. That's nuts. You know, this whole thing that started it, and so they've got so out of the loop. They're just like, now everyone wants to see like Ironheart and Hippo Girl, and it's like, why don't you just give us like Iron Man because we liked it?
Yeah, but you're going to have Ironheart.
I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
Or the Blue Beetle.
Okay, so hang on. What? Yeah, well, the blue people in Avatar turned up. It's like in Wakanda Forever. It's like she's got an Iron Man suit, and it's like, well, who is this person? Are they a billionaire scientist that has all these resources? No, she's a 19-year-old girl. And it's like, and none of these characters
and the plot itself, right?
None of them are soldiers. They're all just weak versions of the originals. No,
the plot itself is kind of funny to me, because she's the one who's like invented something that discovered vibranium, and the thing is that she's now, and I think the government got a hold of it, and that's the plot, right? The government got. I'm sorry, David. You should probably take your headphones off right now. So I think
Cap, how could
you are officially on my shortlist, Cap.
No, I would say the plot in itself, I think they kind of made her the MacGuffin of the things. And I was like, if the government already had a plan, they would probably copied it. They won't be like, okay, we need to get this girl to get to that kingdom. No, they would probably know everything.
That's something I've noticed in quite a few of the series and films that Marvel's done, is that there's always a magical MacGuffin in all of these films that have come out. There's never just been like in the original Iron Man, he builds the suit, he saves people, he beats up the villain at the end. Now it's we have to get this item before the bad guys do. The bad guys get the item, they get the item back, they either destroy the item or they lock it up somewhere. The end. Is that why does every movie now have to have, to build its plot around a central, you could build, all right, this is a magic apple. You have to take it from me. Now we've got the magic apple. Now we've got the apple back.
An apple. It looks
it's my stress ball.
Okay, I was going to say it's got a face.
But my point being is that all these movies that now have the magical MacGuffin that everybody's after, and they think that's the central point of the story when it should be the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, there's a lot of that in the original comics too.
Right, guys, we are going to have to pause this. Just I've got people in the waiting room, and I do.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we are meant to have the next show. Like, if they weren't in the waiting room, I'd just say let's carry on. But what is that face? I recognise that. Is that from They Live?
No, it's just something I picked up in the shop.
Do you know They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper?
It does look like They Live.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I just picked it up in the shop because I needed a stress ball.
Okay, hang on. Let's bring up They Live.
And it's a good thing I have it too, because you guys have been spoiling the
Well,
content for me.
The They Live creatures have a little bit more blue.
That's true. That is true.
Is that a horror movie or something then?
Horror
Kind of.
sci-fi.
I'm gonna.
Oh, sci-fi.
Okay, I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Came from that film. So look, there we see. Hold yours up. Hold yours up.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's similar,
close.
like the eyes.
I mean, it kind of looks like me before I put my makeup on.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Right. Let's find out on that note where we can find everyone. We will resume. We will pick up where we left off here and work out all of the reasons why the Eternals is bad, and why when they had all of the cameos of all of the Avengers in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, that it was super exciting. So, Dave, where can the people find you?
You can find me now on my Instagram, DaveMC1993, where I post photos and do silly shit all the time. You can now check out my YouTube, DaveMC, where you can see the cutscenes is behind me. I upload every Saturday at 10 a.m. French time. Star Wars cutscenes of the Havoc Squad Trooper, and there is also another video up there at the moment of me fighting off zombies with a Nerf gun.
Wow. Okay. Marty, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at What Would Jesus Glue, and here on Extreme.
Fabulous. Cap.
You can find me on Sword Deeds, where I sing, I dance, I throw myself in a bucket, and I work with puppets. But recently, I made a video about how the Velma show is bad. It's obvious, but I also made some good recommendations to Scooby-Doo movies that kind of is the same idea and is kind of child-friendly, and it's really good. So go check those recommendations out. And those are my recommendations. Go watch my videos and you can get recommendations.
Okay, my name is David Psansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Psansky. Also, do check out the Geek Battle YouTube channel at youtube.com/@geekbattle. There's going to be loads of interesting things coming up on that channel in the not too distant future, including tonight's show. I'm going to have to download this from the Extreme Improv channel and upload it onto the other one, where it would have been if I were on StreamYard. But I'm going to have to sort out some technical difficulties. So, audience, if you're going to watch Extreme Improv Extremed, just go to the YouTube channel. I don't know if I'm going to try to make it work on every platform tonight, just because of earlier. Right, with that, from me, from everyone else, stay safe, always stay extremed. Ciao for now. I don't even know how to stop this. I don't want to click end.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I don't